we're going to be talking about the unicorn tapestries.
The unicorn
tapestries.
From the Northern Renaissance from 1495 to 1505.
In the Netherlands, made of wool, silk, silver, and gilt.
These tapestries were thought to have been designed in France and made in Brussels.
Oh, Brussels? Really?
Brussels.
That's interesting.
Like Brussels sprouts?
Like Brussels sprouts.
The recipient of these magnificent tapestries is actually unknown, which is kind of rare. We don't know a lot about them. Some clues to the identity of this person may have been left behind in the actual tapestries themselves, such as hidden initialing, such as the initials of A and a reversed E that are joined together by a bow.
The theme of the tapestries is the fight between the unicorn and the humans who pursue it.
Frightening.
Yeah, it's very frightening. It's a
Blood-ridden tale of chasing the innocent. Really.
yeah, of chasing the innocent, of chasing maybe even Christ, Christ.
Oh, that's right. They say that the unicorn, in some theories, alludes to
Christ, especially because of
the last tapestry, which is the resurrection of the unicorn after it has been killed. Let's just talk about the story a little bit. The first tapestry, the Star of the Hunt, introduces us to the hunters, but not to the actual unicorn.
So the second tapestry, the unicorn at the fountain, is where the unicorn actually puts his horn into a stream to remove the snake's venom from the water.
So he's purifying it.
Yeah, he's purifying the water, and
even the humans who are hunting the unicorn are in awe by its act of purifying the water, but So the third tapestry is the unicorn leaps the stream. Here the serenity of the second tapestry is abandoned as one looks at a highly charged action scene. The hunters now have ugly and cruel faces, symbolizing the persecutors of Jesus Christ.
the fourth tapestry, the unicorn defends himself. The unicorn becomes a savage beast and just starts mauling people.
Angry. Just
awful. Look at the way that he just
He's
goes right through
violent.
that greyhound.
And it's as if the citizens have corrupted him from his once state of purifying to now attacking.
Unfortunately, the fifth tapestry, the unicorn is captured by the maiden, is now in fragments because of its mishandling over the years. According to the tradition, the unicorn can only be trapped by a virginal maiden, who's also symbolized by Mary in the religious interpretation.
The sixth tapestry, the unicorn is killed and brought to the castle, is wrought with emotion, just so emotional.
Just it's a tearjerker that the unicorn is killed and brought to the castle. But
here we have all these different tapestries showing us, the ways of the unicorn and really getting to know the unicorn. And now we're broken up because suddenly our favorite character dies. Here it's like you get to know a character and he's taken away from you that fast.
he's just ripped from the story.
You know what it's like? Is when Dumbledore was replaced in the second or third Harry Potter after the first Dumbledore died. No one wanted Dumbledore anymore.
No. I was 9 and I was pretty traumatized. I think it threw me into an early stages of depression. Maybe the unicorn actually symbols Dumbledore is what we're getting at.
And Dumbledore the unicorn.
Dumbledore definitely personifies the unicorn, and I think that it is more probable that it is Dumbledore because it falls right between the line of religious and secular themes, which is, it's much debated about the religious and secular allusions that they're making. Does this represent Christ? Does this represent love? And I think it represents Dumbledore.
I think that it's also nice that maybe, Dumbledore's character was supposed to be a gay man, and this is an androgynous unicorn, so we could even talk about sexuality within this piece.
We have no idea if this unicorn is male or female. There's no anatomical references. The horn always being a phallic symbol and being captured by a virgin maiden. So maybe this is about the breaking of chastity and temptation of sexual lust.
So then we come to the seventh tapestry. We're curious about this one. The unicorn in captivity is the most famous of all the unicorn tapestries.
This is the one most depicted in art calendars all over the country.
Including the film Harry Potter as well.
Yeah, direct reference.
Direct reference. The unicorn here is miraculously alive again, and the tapestry he rests changed to a circular wooden gate.
Very low wooden gate.
A very low wooden gate.
A very low wooden gate indeed.
A very low wooden gate indeed. And at first glance, this gate looks as if he could almost hop over. As if it's not,
Yeah, so why doesn't he? I mean, he's just laying there, and it's odd. But
yeah, it's very odd. But then, at a second glance, you see that he is actually chained to a pomegranate tree.
It's much like, the story of Christ in which he resurrects, and why doesn't he just stay? He lives for a little while, performs a few miracles, and then just leaves, disappears into the dust.
The rise of the unicorn is symbolic of the rising of Christ. However, since the unicorn is chained, there is some sort of confusion to this symbolism. One theory is that the unicorn, like Jesus Christ, is linked to life or humanity.
Now, have we gone into, the role of relationships in this piece? Now, because here we're talking about...
I think we've touched on it.
Here we're talking about this virgin, if you will, trapping this very lustful, phallic beast. Now, is this supposed to be marriage? Is this what marriage is about?
it could be.
Well, the interesting thing about the tapestries is that because we know so little information about them, it kind of leaves it out in the open. Is it about relationships? Is it about the resurrection of Christ and the corruption of innocence? We really don't know. Is it about
Harry Potter?
Is it about the beastly relationship between the unicorn and the maiden?
Some of the cool, notions of these pieces are the symbolism in them and the incredible detail that was just totally evident in the Northern Renaissance. But these tapestries, they had the exact same amount of detail that something, it was given the careful attention that oil paint was
known to do in the Northern
Renaissance. The specification. And an example of that specification is the over 100 different types of plants that you can see throughout the tapestries that have been identified throughout the piece. They were all specific plants that grew throughout the areas that the artist was familiar with.
Yes, and including also lots of fruit and nut trees, such as orange, walnut, strawberry, apricot, plum, cherry, peach, which all symbolize fertility, and some are actually aphrodisiacs.
So another allusion to romantic love in the unicorn tapestries. Another piece of symbolism is swans within the tapestries. We see swans winding its necks with its mate in a moat, and we see a dovecot in the castle. But the dove is also associated with chastity or with mating for life, and it also has associations with the Holy Spirit. So then again, we have that allusion to Christ and love.
So we have this mixture of allusions to biblical texts, but at the same time romantic love and the partnering of two individuals.
Because then again, it's really hard to explain that last tapestry where you have the unicorn chained to the pomegranate tree. Like, what could that represent in religious terms? But we're more sure that it can represent something about being chained to your betrothed. And in the last tapestry, you can see that the unicorn is alive, but it's seemingly bleeding from its wounds. But those are actually the pomegranate seeds and juice dripping down from the stylized tree, not actual wounds.
Oh, that's interesting.
But at the same time, it kind of represents this woundedness, but that's not
even though
physical.
It's resurrected, it still has those wounds.
Yeah. So
evident.
Are these the wounds of love? Who knows?
Who knows?